As a new Immortality Day approaches, I can hardly believe it has been over a century. An entire century in this twisted, mentally infirm world I have come to call home. One cannot help but to cast their minds back to when it all started. 100 years ago, I was but a humble researcher and a man of science. I was devoted to my work, yet it hardly drew attention. With every piece, my research was rendered ever more obscure and unwanted. A crude fate, one might say. But it was a fate with a great sense of irony. And while my life's work amounted to little significance, I made the most crucial discovery when I died. Bright emerald flashes pierced the night sky, and in an instant, the earth came under relentless assault. Thousands upon thousands of stars rained down, leaving a trail of unseen devastation. One that left me buried deep beneath a mountain of rubble. With each passing hour, I grasped at life as it slipped away from me. Yet the outcome was inevitable. I drew my last breath and slipped off into the darkness. The primordial non-existence. Or so I thought. Chaotic noises, haunting voices, a barrage of auditory sensations filled my being, surrounding me completely, burrowing down to my core. And before I knew it, I regained consciousness. Fully renewed, unharmed, and far away from the place of my demise. Even in this stunned state, I knew I had witnessed something monumental. I had found the afterlife. I had heard the world of the dead. The miraculous stars had caught the public's attention for their resurrection properties. But I knew their true potential. With their power, I could study the afterlife. Write the single most important scientific research of all. And answer the fundamental question: what happens to people after they pass away? I began to work immediately. Months went by. Countless experiments, thousands of deaths and resurrections, endless notes and hypotheses. The labor of time yielded an unexpected result. For I had cheated death so many times that death itself had noticed.
Face me, mortal! You shall answer for your transgressions!
Good evening. Please, do come in. The pleasure is all mine. May I offer a discussion of our matters over a glass of Calvados? Instantaneously, we recognized in each other the kindred spirits of a sophisticated gentleman. It was the start of my most cherished friendship. My fascination with the afterlife flattered death. Hence, he invited me to visit his domain, the Death's Kingdom. It turned out to be less ethereal than one would presume. A noble realm filled with riches, culture, and servants. I began to study his world intently. And as my knowledge of this world grew, so did our bond. I still had much to discover from my dearest companion. What did he do with the souls of the deceased? To which realm, I pondered, did he guide their restless spirits? It took time and effort, but eventually, I found out the foul truth.
I do not guide souls, Theodore. I destroy them, and lay their remains to eternal rest, an eternal non-existence.
So you would cast my soul into oblivion as if it were nothing?
It has nothing to do with you personally.
Apparently, very little does.
Everything must come to an end, Theodore. That is a monumental rule by which all living creatures must abide.
According to who?
According to me. I have claimed countless souls before you, and I will claim many more after. There is nothing that makes you exempt from this.
Are you certain of that? Every god has a weakness.
Is that a challenge?
3 months had passed since we had agreed to a duel. I returned to the kingdom, armed with 100 life stars and help from the locals. I came face to face with my dear old friend, who stood there in silence. As I braced myself for battle, he delivered the most vicious blow. He apologized. He claimed that we could put it all behind us, and simply return to how things were, and that maybe, with some cooperation, we could come to an understanding. Together. He did not put up much of a fight. That night, I became the champion of death, the hero of an immortal world. I know you can hear me. I started writing again. Care to know what I have realized? Throughout my life, I've always had very little patience for cowards. There is nothing more wasteful than a life spent in fear. And yet, what else but fear could explain this purgatory I've authored? I always knew you'd return one day. Traitors, revolt, the finite amount of stars, trivial mistakes. It matters not what the precautions I take. The outcome remains unchanged. I am ready to face you. And this time, it will be honest.